What you see here is my Noblex Pro 6-150U panorama camera partially disassembled. I tried to take a photo with it, but when I pressed the shutter release button, this is what happened. The drum with the lens started to rotate, but only briefly, and then it abruptly stopped with a creaking sound so alarming that I feared the electric motor burned down. It would not work afterwards. The green light still comes on, but otherwise it is totally lifeless. So I took it apart to see if I can find the cause of the problem. I will show you how to disassemble this camera, but first some background information. I bought this camera second-hand some 20 years ago. It arrived in the mail. I was super excited to try it out, but to my disappointment, it did not work. I was able to meet up with the seller, and he acknowledged that it was faulty and agreed to get it fixed. When I got the camera back, he said a ring of some sort had to be replaced in it. Well, that ring is this one here, around the perimeter of this wheel. This wheel rotates the drum, and the electric motor's shaft you see here spins the wheel through friction. This ring is made of a synthetic material that tends to dry out over time, crack and fall apart. So this was installed 20 years ago, then brand new, but now if I look carefully, I can see some cracks already. However, when I disassembled this camera, I suspected an electric fault. But guess what, guys? It turned out to be something simple. Look at these. These bits fell out from inside the camera when I turned it this way and that. These are segments of the old ring they replaced in the repair shop, and they jammed the mechanics inside. Now I'll show you that with these intruders removed, the camera works. The camera works now, but I can see that this notoriously weak part is not going to last long. I will definitely have to replace this ring. I just don't yet know how to. Now I'll show you how to remove the camera top and bottom. To take off the bottom is very easy really. You just need to unscrew and remove these three screws. They are all the same size. And then undo and remove these little ones here. There is one more hiding under this plate here. And then just carefully take off the bottom. Here it is. Depending on the model, your camera might look slightly different. Okay, so now let's remove the top. First, take off the viewfinder, and then there are 5 screws to remove. They are all identical. Next, see there is a set screw here, in the shutter speed selector knob. Loosen that, and then you can take off the shutter speed selector knob. And lastly, unscrew and take off the film wind knob, turning it clockwise. Here we go. And now this has to come off as well. Beware of that washer in there. It gets caught a little bit under this knob, so lift up this side and then pull that way. And here we go. I just managed to remove this tiny little circlip. And there is a little washer under it. Here we go. And now I'm going to try to remove the wheel. Here we go. This is spring-loaded. There's some more junk in there. Now, this is interesting. See that? Wow. So the way this seems to work is this. The axle of the electric motor turns the wheel here, and this part of the wheel rotates the drum in there. You can see. Now, both this ring and that ring are damaged, so they both have to be replaced. Oh. Funnily, only that part of it is glued onto the wheel. Now let us see if this washer is any good. Not quite the right size. And it is a bit thicker. Yep. It is thicker than the original seal or washer. Using a rotary tool, I sanded down the washer, made it thinner, so now it sits nicely in the groove on the wheel. It looked like this originally. As you can see, it is thinner. Now, for this part of the wheel, I used an O-ring like this. These O-rings are nothing special. You can buy them in a hardware shop. So now let's see if it works. So now I'm going to put the wheel back in its place. Here we go. And let's see if it works. Just need to turn it on. Press the shutter release button. Oh! Wow, look at that. That was the slowest speed, 1/15th of a second. Once more. Beauty. Now let's change to a faster speed. Like so. Wow, look at that. Works. But of course the real test will be when pictures are being taken with this camera and bending does not show up on the pictures. Bending means that the drum is not rotating with a constant speed. But it looks like it works very well.